This is the Criterion Creeps podcast. And tonight we're talking about A Canterbury Tale from 1944, directed by Powell and Pressburger. And we're joined by friend of the show, Justin Peterson. Hi, Justin. Oh, hanging, wow. Hanging in there still.
I'm here.
Good, you're
Thanks
here.
for having me back.
Yeah, no problem. No problem at all.
Fart sounds, that's great. That's great.
There is no synopsis for this film, sadly, but we have a very to-the-point synopsis from Letterboxd. 3 modern-day pilgrims investigate a bizarre crime in a small town on the way to Canterbury. My AKA for A Canterbury Tale is The Glue Man Cometh.
And what do you mean by that?
Well, I'm talking about because this movie is about the glue man. There's a guy running around, RJ, putting glue in ladies' hair.
Keeper.
Yeah.
He did what to their hair?
He's gluing them.
Damn.
It's sticky.
Yeah. And when I started watching this and this happened, and I read the synopsis, I went, "Oh, this is a thing. This is what Powell and Pressburger wanted to bring to the screen." Mm-hmm. And then I saw that you had watched this before I had, and you had tagged this as incel and incel fanfic, and
potentially,
curious. And so my question here, always for our guests on episodes like this, Justin, what prompted you to want to come onto the show to discuss A Canterbury Tale? I'm assuming that perhaps you're a big fan of perhaps the original poem, or maybe you're just like, you love Powell and Pressburger so much that you're just moved in all these ways to be like, yes, this is one. I have so many things to say about A Canterbury Tale. Or is this accurate? Are you a big Chaucer boy?
None of the above. I'm sorry to say.
Cool.
So I had taken a month hiatus from emailing the show, and I was like, I want to make my big return by joining you guys. We got a ways away from my next appearance with La Haine coming up. Fantastic movie. But I was like, yeah, I've heard of that Chaucer before. Let's see what the Canterbury Tale is all about. Powell and Pressburger style. And if I even said that right. Yeah, this was not the movie I had signed up for. I felt quite baited and switched with these illusions of Anglo love. This was quite the stinker. So,
oh, good.
Whoa.
Yeah,
coming out swinging.
See, the problem is
Nice.
they got you on the A Canterbury Tale, not the Canterbury Tales. Yeah. See, this is like, well, apparently there was 24 stories in the original Middle English tale from 1400, and this is just like one of the offcuts, I think. The Glue Man Cometh. Mm-hmm. You know about that, RJ?
I've heard of some glue men, but I'm not sure about the glue men.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Well, I do. You know what I mean? Yeah, I do believe. I can't remember if it was before we started recording. Justin did say, I think this would have been more appropriate for a Rob English.
R.O. Beagle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he
the Beast of Berkshire. Yeah,
the Beast of Berkshire himself. He could have been.
He could speak to Kent.
Board. Maybe.
You know about Kent.
Potentially.
So anyways,
there's a surprising amount of films in this genre of, hey, we're England getting bombarded by the Nazis. America, please come help us. Cinema.
Mm-hmm. The Doughboys. You know about the Doughboys?
Love those guys.
Yeah.
My favorite.
Yeah, I mean,
Pillsbury, right?
Mm-hmm.
I came into this not knowing a great deal about it, other than when I read the synopsis, I went, oh, okay, that sounds like some real classic Powell and Pressburger action. I was like, is this going to be some Red Shoes, or is this going to be some I Know Where I'm Going?
Oh, where'd you fall? Somewhere in the middle?
Yes, somewhere in the middle, maybe leading one way or another. So anyway, I didn't get to do my thorough note taking that I usually do when I have time to kind of go through a movie and do a kind of beat by beat breakdown and noting amusements. So RJ's going to have to probably take over here. But right off the bat, this opens up a little bit of that medieval times. We get, which is like always exciting to see people with Prince Adam haircuts and puffy hats. We get a nice scene of a man with his hunting hawk. He launches into the sky that he watches very proudly with his very English nose, and then whoa, it cuts to a plane in the air.
We also start with some of that Shakespeare stuff. Did you mention that?
You're doing a thing with your hands.
The Shakespeare stuff, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, who doth onto the
that's the Middle English, my friend. That is
Middle English?
As a precursor to some of that Shakespearean talk.
Oh, interesting.
But yeah, then we do get a throw to I'm not sure who wrote the that opening passage where it's like it goes from being like the Chaucer to the like someone trying to do an impression of it, kind of speaking, but it doesn't quite work because it's really hard to, I think, write that way and it makes sense to the person writing it. But we get kind of like but it's over footage of tanks rolling across the
a new kind of pilgrim.
Yeah, this ain't your daddy's pilgrims.
I would like to see John Wayne in this film. That would have been
cool.
That would have been cool. And I'd say so. One of the swerves of this movie is you think that this is going to take place in Canterbury, but only about a quarter.
Last 15 minutes.
Yeah, less than a quarter of the film is in Canterbury. It's a big swerve.
Some would say that the real story is the journey, Jarrett.
Yeah. So yeah, we pretty well pick up with this idea of like, yeah, there's going to be these pilgrims, these modern day people making their way in the world today. It takes everything you got. And we have an American played by a real life soldier, kind of like amateur actor, Sergeant John Sweet, playing our American. And who's, I guess, making his way to duty. And he's got a chip on his shoulder. His girl ain't been sending letters to him, and he's gonna let you know about it. Well, he gets off at the wrong station, one town over, and there's not going to be another until the next day.
Canterbury.
But he makes a go of it, and then hijinks ensue.
What kind?
Of the glue man kind.
Oh, shit.
After being admonished by the train station guy for coming off a train as it's leaving, he teams up with the girl who is played by, is it Sheila Sim, the shop assistant? Sure. As Allison Smith, it could be. And then the other guy is played by Dennis Price as Sergeant Peter Gibbs. There's some jokes about the direction in which your military insignia is supposed to face. I believe it's the Americans faces down and the British point up.
Something like that.
Hilarious. Just hilarious.
Well, it's like
those
observation.
Aren't quarters, they're shillings.
Yes.
Well, it's like.
But did you see the size of that giant like wagon filled with hay?
The hay wagon? Oh yeah.
Man, don't let OSHA get in there. They'll be saying, "Kid, get down from there. You can't be working for your parents no more. You're gonna fall down, break your neck."
That's no good. Don't let those labor laws ruin good honest work.
Don't let them hold you back.
Yeah.
So anyway, they're walking home at night, and someone comes running out wearing a uniform and oozes the poor girl just to get her hair washed out, get that
several times.
Interesting.
Yes. And then
shampoo action.
Yeah. And then they're off and running. So I will say, because I'm with RJ, I'm going to let you do the rest of this breakdown. This movie is like just gorgeous to look at. The cinematography, I think the black and white images and stuff like that look so good, and it's so weird because it's like it looks so much better than what this movie needed ultimately. And so this is their first collaboration with Irwin Hillier, who they worked with quite a bit, or maybe just this one time. Maybe I'm wrong on that. Anyways, he did of course work on I Know Where I'm Going with those archers, Powell and Pressburger. You know them.
All right, we know them. We love them.
Yeah. But yeah, I was just
That's
like,
it.
yeah, there's just like things where it's like, oh, here's a scene of them in a bedroom in the hotel essentially that they're staying at the lodgings, and you're just like, my God, it's like so well lit. Like you see like the detail, and this isn't like a blow-away transfer or anything like that, but it looks great. But RJ, continue for me, please.
Okay, so where did you leave off? Girlfriend gets glue-haired?
Girlfriend gets glue-haired.
Okay, so
And you're talking about that dark bedroom, and there's like a little bit of light peering through like the shades. Yeah, that was a great looking shot.
Yeah, that's like the biggest recommend for me for this whole movie is like it looks amazing, and it's like kind of this like nothing kind of story that kind of just like happens, which again is curious. Like I don't know what I was expecting, but it's like such a non-narrative with this like dramatic story where you're like, oh, some guy is going after girls, and like, but you're like, that's like I mean, one of these guys goes on to make Peeping Tom, 15 years later. So I'm like, some weird repressed stuff maybe going on. Maybe, I don't know.
Are you saying potentially incel stuff, Jared?
I don't know, but his heart was in the right place. His heart was in the right place.
Aren't they all?
Did you notice the office of what's his name?
Culpepper.
Culpepper. That's right. The cinematography in his office, like I think there's like Dutch angles and the camera's going every which way.
Oh, yeah.
Another visual highlight.
Oh yeah.
And then the highlights stop there.
There's a couple. I like when there's the mysterious figure out in the shadows, kind of like in the mist. That's a really cool shot. I like that.
Who was that?
It's undetermined because
Probably
I
the
think
glue man.
you're led to believe it's the glue man. The glue man, which
huge.
I gotta say, I didn't look into this movie, and I watched this with Andy, my wife, and we were watching it, and the thing happened, and then there was the dialogue with the other characters. It's like, looks like the glue man's at it again, and Andrew's like, hold up, what is this movie about? And I was like, I don't know, man. And then there was like 10 minutes of people talking about the glue man, and she's like, what is this? And I was like, I don't know, but we're here. Let's check it out.
Let's help solve the mystery.
So here's the mystery, Jared.
The non-mystery.
So our American soldier gets off the train, and he's dang tired of not being able to get on another train. And the train constructor is like, all right, listen, you got to go to City Hall. You got to talk to Culpepper. And he's like, why? And he's like, that's just the town rules. And he's like, we got a lady here. She got to be escorted back
by a couple fellas.
By a couple fellas, because no ladies are allowed out after sundown by themselves. And they're like, why? And it's like, it's just a curfew. All right. So our American soldier, British soldier, who's also at the train station, and British lady go see Mr. Culpepper at the town hall. Mm-hmm. On the way there, she gets glued, glue in her hair, and a lot of town folk at City Hall are like, oh yeah, you got hit by the glue man. And she's like, the who? And they're like, oh, there's this dude here. We call him the glue man. He puts glue in people's hair. So, like, you got to wash that out and stuff.
So,
and she's like,
Thomas Culpepper, described as a gentleman farmer.
Gentleman farmer, which I would, you do see scenes of him scything some tall grass. So, he is definitely
he could have been like
farmer.
Scythe Man.
Well, I always, whenever I see Scythe, I think of that Ray Bradbury story about the scythe, where it's like it's the Grim Reaper and he's cutting grass and it's to kill people. Mm-hmm. But it's an important job because when he stops, the grass gets overrun and then bad stuff happens, Yeah. Important job. So anyways, they go see Culpepper, And Culpepper says to the American soldier guy, he's like, hey, guess what? I got you a hotel room. It's the best place in the hotel. It's on me, buddy. No problem. And American guy goes, golly, gee willikers. That sure is the best thing I ever heard. So he leaves. He's happy. Lady comes in, and she's like, I got glue in my hair. And he's like, yeah, there's this dude puts glue in people's hair. It's a whole thing. And she's like, all right. And then did you hear that? Did you hear that? And he's like, nah, I didn't hear nothing, girl. Nothing weird going on up here. I'm definitely not the bad guy. Definitely not the bad guy. And she's like, okay, cool. So she's there because she's part of like the farm placement program where it's like, which is the best way I could describe it.
Land girl.
The land girl. Yeah. She's sent there by an agency to work the farm, work the land for the community. And he's like, you really don't need any more ladies. Kind of need dudes on this one. And she's like, well, I'm here. So you're gonna take what you're gonna get. She talks with that. Dang nabbit.
Yeah, it turns out this movie is actually set like, I don't know, in the deep south of America.
Yeah, you ever
it's
seen
weird.
Foghorn Leghorn, Jarrett?
Isn't that Kentucky?
Kentucky? Yeah, that's deep south, baby. That's deep south, I think. JP knows
Is
all about that.
Is that accurate, JP?
Kentucky, yeah, it is in the Bible Belt.
Yeah, see, I know what I'm talking about, Jarrett.
Yeah.
So anyways, girlfriend gets a denied job, but they're like, maybe we'll find a place, maybe we won't. Go to a hotel, you sort it out. Girlfriend goes to
such a strange accent for Chillingborn of Kent.
Allow me to hold my suspenders for a moment here. I was not aware that I would have to lead things tonight, so I am doing the job that is laid out.
Are you not the glue man?
Are you is in the glue man? That's what I want to know. So anyways, they go back to the hotel.
Yep.
And girlfriend goes to American guy's room and just like, hey man, do you really gotta go tomorrow? Because like something's weird here. Everyone's talking about glue men. Women aren't allowed at nighttime. Seems like a weird thing, Girls can't go out on their own. There's male tendencies in this town.
There's an implication.
There's the implication, which is always ever present. And our American boy goes, well, golly, I didn't never think nothing was wrong. I was just here for a good time. I was just passing by.
Remember how he tried to use that?
Canterbury.
Remember when he tried to use that mirror? Classic.
Yeah, he says, holy smokes. She's like, you should stay a while. And he's like, I don't know if I can, but maybe I will. So they stay, and they're like, we're going to investigate the glue man. So she goes to the farm placement, starts talking to the farmers, and they're like, oh, yeah, that glue guy, he's fucking nuts. We hate that guy. That's the language they used to. And they like her spunk and her moxie. And then an American guy comes, and they're like, are you an American soldier, boy? And he's like, yeah, I am an American soldier. I do have that honor.
And he knows about wood.
Yeah, he says, my daddy made
carpenter.
Made the church, and he put me in a crib made out of Jerusalem cedar. He said if it was good enough for, like, Samson or something, he was like, it was good enough for my baby. Somebody like Samson.
Samsonite? I was way off.
Something like that.
Different wood for all throughout the year.
That's right. Pine. You know about pine?
Stick wood.
Ooh,
you gotta dry it.
You gotta dry your pines, Jared. Don't leave your pine out.
Eat special wood for Christmas time.
These farmers are very impressed with this guy's knowledge, though. He's like, yeah, he's the real deal. He's authentic. He invites him back. Like, hey, we're having dinner at like midday. You got to come back here. And he's like, all right. It's like, I got nowhere else to be.
He said, I'll make sure I'll be there for that dinner appointment. You hear? So I'm going to go ask around about the glue man, but I'll be back. So they all talk to him for a bit, and girlfriend, they talk to her for a bit. Find out a little bit about their lives, and she's like, well, my husband's out here, and he hasn't written in, but I'm holding out for a miracle. And our American boy goes, I was holding out for a miracle, too. My girl, she said she'd drive me every day, but I ain't got no better for weeks. Weeks on weeks.
Oh, sure. The boat got sank.
The boat got, and he's like, there are all sorts of excuses. Boat got sank. Letter got misdirected. And he said, you hold out for a miracle your whole life. You're going to be waiting forever. He said, my girlfriend, she gone.
You got a
She
boyfriend?
gone.
And then she's like, yeah, he's dead. And he's
Yeah,
like, oh, sorry to hear that.
He said, sorry to hear that. That's what happens here in the corpse. So then there's that, but they're bonding. And they're learning some stuff. They find out that Mr. Culpepper is not just a business agriculture man, but he's also a town council man, maybe the mayor of this town.
And he's a pillar of the community.
He's a pillar of the community, and he likes to educate folks on said community and the heritage of the Canterbury Trail. They find out he gives us slideshows about the Canterbury. And they're like, well, we're going to go to one of these slides. It's basically a PowerPoint presentation, but they're like, we're going to go to one of these presentations tonight. So it's like, we'll meet back later. So girlfriend goes out, and then she stumbles upon Mr. British soldierman in some tanks. And she's like, how dare you stop me on my horse? And he's like, you know what? We were going to kill you and your horse. And he doesn't use that language, but he's like, we were about to blow you up, girl.
We could have.
Like, so why don't you watch? He's like, we could do it still if you test us. And she's like, well, you want to come find the glue man with us? And he's like, yeah, I'll do that. That sounds cool. So he kind of gets a leave or something. So British guy, American guy, and American girl go to the town, and they hear some town history about the Canterbury Trail and the Pilgrims and things like that.
That's right.
And they say, this Culpepper guy, he sure loves this place. Almost loves it enough to do something to preserve it. You know what I mean?
And there's a little bit of shit talking about rivers.
Oh yeah, they really shit talk rivers.
Well, John,
like,
Bob Johnson, Sergeant Bob, he's kind of like, you call that a river?
Yeah, he said, you call that a river? That's a stream at best. That's a creek at best. And you go, all right, dude, whatever. You're like, it's water.
Calm down.
Calm down.
It's supposed to be from Oregon too, right?
Yeah, the Oregon Trail.
Mm-hmm.
It's a different trail, a sadder trail, some would say, but not the saddest trail, because we all know what the saddest trail is, right, Jarrett?
The one with dysentery?
I was gonna say, what's that? Trail of Tears?
Oh yeah,
Trail of Tears.
Come on.
That's the saddest one.
Now it's sad, RJ. Now we're all sad.
Everything's sad all the time. So anyways, they go to the PowerPoint and they're like, yeah, this guy seems suspicious. We should look into him more.
The only suspect.
The only suspect from the start. They go to the town idiot, who is a man with a stutter.
Yep.
And they make fun of him for like 6 minutes. And
you
go,
both there.
okay.
Yeah. A cruel picture.
It is cruel. And then they're just like, well, hey, wait a minute. This Culpepper man, they keep the lights off, because of the bomb. And they don't actually say that, but that's why they keep the lights off. And then they're like, but that town hall light, was that on when we got here? Suspicious. So then what happens is a British guy goes to Culpepper's house, meets the mother, and he's like, where were you on these nights? He's like, well, I'm part of the voluntary fire department. So this dude just straight up steals the schedule for the fire department, where it's like that's super obvious. I know he can't take his cell phone out because there's no reception in the countryside, but like it's super obvious that he just flat out stole it. So he steals it, and he's like, it's getting clearer and clearer that this guy might be the guy. And then girlfriend's hanging out with Culpepper. They have like a nice stroll in the tall grass. And then the two soldier boys, they're having a stroll, and you hear about British guys. His dream is to be a church organ player. And he's like, I always want to be a church organ player, but I'm in the army now. And they're like, what did you do for a job? And he's like, I was an organ player, but not at a church. And then you feel sad. You're supposed to feel sad. You're like, because he's like, I always wanted to be a church organ player.
He was a mere cinema organist.
Yeah, he's like, I was a cinema organist instead. And
people went, boo.
There's no honor in that. And they're like, boo.
God,
you suck.
Get out of here. I hope you die.
So his dream is the weakest, because he's like, I wanted to be this kind of organist, but I was a different kind of organist, and it's not what I wanted. And you go, all right. But church guy, or like guys are walking the tall grass. They pass these guys. They kind of overhear this stuff. So Culpepper kind of knows they're onto him. I totally forgot the most the biggest part that should have been cut out of this movie to save this movie 20 minutes is the kid's story. So American Soldier enlists the kids who are playing army because they're scouts or something to go and like retrieve information. Yeah. I'm sure it was all charming for people who like this movie back in the 40s.
So this movie came out. It's 1944 when this was being filmed.
Yes.
Like the war was still happening.
Yes.
And I'm sure it was meant to play real big.
Yes.
Yeah. But
I know why it's there, but it should have been cut because it's 15 minutes at put this movie at 2:07, which is too long. So anyways, there's a confrontation with Culpeper before they leave town. Actually, not before. They kind of talk to him, and they're like, yeah, we know what's kind of going on. And then they all board the train to Canterbury together, and they share a cable cart. And Culpeper's like, listen, how would you feel if your women were getting ravished by men every single night and you had nothing to do to stop it? And they go, oh shit, were these women like not consenting to this? And he's like, no, they were consenting, but it was every single night they were getting ravished. And they go, seems okay. And he's like, nah, it wasn't okay. We had to put glue in their hair, keep them indoors, keep them locked up real tight, like, so that the soldiers couldn't get them. He's like, but also the country's beautiful. People should stay here and see the countryside. So that's kind of his rationale, right, Jared? So
what, Culpeper's?
Spoiler. Well, Culpeper is the glue man.
Wasn't it like that? Yeah, yes.
Dun, dun, dun.
Without admitting it, but yes, it's like there's been one suspect, and it's him
the entire time.
And so it's not really a mystery, but it's because he. I believe he wants to prevent the soldiers from being distracted from his lectures by female company. And
that's part of it.
To keep to keep the women loyal to the British boyfriend, so they're not gallivanting about.
That was the one that stood out to me, where he's like, well, these handsome men come in and the women can't really help themselves. But it's like, but if you were at war and you came home and you know your filly was out every night with a different soldier, would you still want her? That's kind of the way he phrases it, and you go,
and that's
shit.
That big yikes.
Yeah, and he's like, so I had to put glue in there. He's like, because he doesn't say this either, but he's kind of like, it was a non-threatening way to keep them indoors for a couple of days, because there's the big thing about it. He's like, well, the glue, they're like, well, you got to keep washing it. You got to wash it and wash it for days and days. So it's like, well, the girls had to stay home because they had the glue in there. So anyways, they all know it's him. And British soldier's like, I'm going to go tell the cops. And Culpeper's like, do whatever feels right, bro. Whatever.
Feels good, man.
So they get dumped, and girlfriend goes and finds like a trailer for her dead husband, like a little RV camper thing. And old guy's Culpeper comes. He's like, I thought you'd be here. And then an old guy comes. He's like, hey man, we were trying to get a hold of you, girl. He's like, your husband's alive. That guy ain't dead.
There is like a passage here before that where it's just like footage of like Canterbury, which has just been completely bombed to shit.
Oh yeah, she's doing the walkthrough of the town, and she's like, wasn't there? Is this where the church or like the museum is? And it's like, oh yeah, the museum was here. It was. And then it's just rubble, and then it's kind of like passing by, and everything is just blown up to shit, and you're just like, oh, that sucks. But yeah, she goes to the trailer. She finds out so like Culpeper's whole thing was that he believes in miracles. He's like, I believe that our little town is gonna get revitalized. He's like, we can do it. He's like, he's like, miracles are real, and everyone's like, okay. So she goes, she finds out her husband is alive. Miracle. American soldier meets another American soldier, and the guy's like, oh yeah, shit, I forgot. I got like 7 weeks of mail here from your old girlfriend. They were sent to Australia for some weird reason.
They're part of the Women's Army Corps.
Women's Army
Corps?
From
Australia.
Yeah.
So miracle. And then our British soldiers go into the police station to try to rat out Culpeper, and then they're like, oh yeah, he's at the cathedral. So he goes over to the cathedral, and then he meets the organ player, and the organ player's like, he's like, wanna play the organ, son? And
looks at the camera.
He goes, my dream. So then he starts playing the organ, and
plays a little Bach. Yeah.
He plays the most Dracula-ass song he could in the church.
Well, that's Glue Man's theme.
Oh yeah, that's a little Glue Man for you. So he plays
I
like
how the go-to organ song in churches has not changed in the last
It's
No.
Nearly 100
It's
years.
a classic. Play a little
It's goth.
Toccata and Fugue in D minor.
Yeah, just a little goth action. But yeah, and then the movie just ends.
And he decides
That's
not,
it.
but he decides not to go to the police station.
Well, yeah,
Let him glue.
He says, "Glue it up, baby." He's like, maybe them girls need to be indoors.
And then we think about all the lessons we learned along the way after 2 hours and 7 minutes.
Absolutely.
By Jove.
And that's the end of that story, my friend. So, yes, I didn't know I needed to recount the glue man, but I tried my best. Dag nabbit.
You nailed it. You nailed it.
I watched this movie.
I did too.
Sometimes I don't, but I watched this movie.
You watched this one.
I did too.
Yeah. I'm going to let you in a little secret, JP. Jarrett, edit this out. I don't always watch these movies. I say I do. But sometimes I'm not really there. You know what I mean? Like mentally, like my brain's not there. It's, so I watched this film. So anyways, that's Canterbury Tale. Or something like that. I have thoughts. I don't know if you guys want to hear about them. You guys have thoughts? I'd like to hear about them. So whoever wants to go first, Jarrett, I'm going to swing it back to you, baby.
Yeah, so the first movie that comes to my mind watching this was the excellent Best Picture winner, Mrs. Miniver, which came out 2 years prior, directed by William Wyler. And it is just like, it's such a different movie. It has like a real, I don't know if melodrama is the right word for it, but it has like a real arc to it of there's like actual, I feel like, struggles. Characters have demands and wants, and there's like some sort of stakes in place and real tension, and it really captures sort of the terror, I guess, of the blackouts and stuff like that, and not knowing. It's like, well,
small town life during the war.
Yeah, it's super simple but so effective, great. And one of the I think really when I was going through the Best Picture stuff, I was like, man, this movie's so good. So I was kind of curious as Canterbury Tale started, and I saw okay, it's a contemporary movie set during World War II, and I do know that. The British film industry was pretty strong at this point. A lot of movies were turning toward, a lot of this stuff is all propaganda at the end of the day, and it's about boosting morale and presenting things. So you're obviously going to present things in a way for an audience that you don't want to people to be bummed out, really. Mm-hmm. But you also want to not bullshit people either. So Canterbury Tale's curious because it seems like it's kind of finding this weird balance of not wanting to talk about it, but at the same time being driven face to face with it, because it's it is referencing the Canterbury Tales, which is also this long history that England does have with itself. That as North Americans, we don't have that much, particularly Creeps villains. We have very little of it. We tear our buildings down instantly. I know in America there's a lot more there. I think, but it's not it's hard to compare to England's where you have that people have these houses, these constructions that have been around since 1066, and you can see who's owned a property for ever since then, and there is kind of this mysticism when you start going back before that, sort of these lines between paganism and Christianity coming back and forth, these changing lines along politics and kings and queens and stuff like that. And then you kind of shift into the 20th century, and then you have the Canterbury Tale, and this is sort of a modern idea that your screenwriters, the Archers had. And I don't know how to think about this movie. It's because it's so simple. There is no real drama. It's kind of it's bizarre. It's such a strange movie. The Glue Man, It's like so like it's just some sort of like
It is strange.
it's some sort of weird, like, what kind of sex weirdo is this? Like, I'm used to watching
Duncan style.
Charles Bronson movies about nude killers and stuff like that. They're like, nothing's as simple as it is, and they escalate. This is kind of like, no, I'm doing this for their own good, and it's like, oh, they are in this like very British way. You're just in like the comically British sort of like strange thing. And like, I think about this movie, how it actually kind of reminds me of an Edgar Wright movie where you could imagine like this sort of like non-arc could totally transpire, and like you could imagine what what someone could do with the same idea, but probably up it a little bit, give it a little bit of a boost, throw in some, like, make it funny, make it funnier, and not so like, I'm watching a movie. I feel like I'm so special that I just get to watch movies at all. Now we live in a world with 100,000 movies to choose from, and it's like, I don't know if Canterbury Tale is going to be at the top of my list. It's definitely like, it's again, my biggest praise of it is the cinematography is awesome. I think that for a first time actor, I guess, who didn't really do anything else, the guy playing Bob Johnson, John Sweet, is pretty good with his ridiculous
guy who talks like this.
Love it. So this guy apparently he got $2,000 for this movie. He donated it all to the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People back in 1945.
Goddamn!
So it's like, which as Wikipedia notes, is a remarkable gesture for the time. $2,000.
That's crazy.
That's a lot of dough. And he just died. He just died. Well, just died. He died in 2011 at 95. So he was a nice old man from Minneapolis, Minnesota. Justin Peterson.
Goddamn.
But
good man.
Good state. So yeah. Anyway, I don't know. This isn't a movie that I'd be rushing out to recommend to anybody. It is quite long, I think, for what it sets out to do.
A little too long.
But I don't know. It's I've seen worse in the collection. I will see worse in the collection, but other than that, I don't know. I'm pretty indifferent to it. I didn't get to go through it for my notes to see if anything else more registered for me, but I don't know. I think there's something about this idea of pilgrims that could have been thought of differently. I kind of get where, I don't know. I haven't heard from Justin about specifics about his thoughts on this, but I think it could have been a different movie, and that could have been a great movie too. I mean, they've got greater movies in them than this, but I think this is just like, it exists. It's there. That's about it. What did you two think of A Canterbury Tale?
Jay Peterson, you want to hit it?
Sure. Okay. A few fun facts out the gate. They actually didn't shoot in Canterbury Cathedral, except for one shot. When you see the ceiling, that was a handheld camera they smuggled in. They recreated in Denham Studio, and Cathedral guides were so convinced at the authenticity of the shot that they claim that this was shot in Canterbury Cathedral. Probably the most random, strange IMDb factoid ever. So the author of Gone with the Wind, Margaret Mitchell, went to go see this with her husband, and she got hit by a car and died. And
wow,
that's a fact.
Cool.
Somehow, some reason. This was the Archer's first box office flop. I can't imagine why. I think they had quoted one of them afterwards saying that people were kind of over this at this point. Like I was saying earlier, this is kind of that movie, kind of in the realm of like The Great Dictator or Four Correspondent, where like, holy shit, stuff's going down in Europe. America, get over here and help us. And by the time this came out, I think they were saying that the Americans were making their way through Italy, so didn't quite need that call for help anymore. And I really saw the whole movie as this idea of like romanticizing this old English style that Chaucer, I guess, captured in that story. Need to look more into that part. Let me go through a few of my quippy notes throughout the whole thing. I did enjoy, so the bells open the movie and close the movie. Do you guys recall if there's any other Archer films that open on bells? It seemed very familiar.
Probably Black Narcissus is what you're thinking of, because that's got the whole thing with the kind of, the giant, church in the middle of the mountains.
Yeah, that's a really good movie.
Yeah, a great movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Did you guys see the American intro and outro? How that was different?
I saw that. I watched the American outro, but not the intro.
Okay. The intro goes into the whole idea of women in Australia, so it actually gives all that context. The outro actually shows the girlfriend from Australia, so it actually makes a lot more sense the American way. So just throwing that out there. Both of those are available on the Criterion channel. Did y'all see that thing about Kubrick must have seen that Falcon transition because it's just like the bone to the spaceship?
I did not see that, and I don't think I'm going to plan to see that, whatever it is.
Well, remember he releases the Falcon or whatever, and it turns into a biplane, and that's just like the bone.
Yeah.
In 2001.
Gotcha.
Not great acting. I mean, you gave him some props, JD, but that gee golly crap, I think Jimmy Stewart pulls off a whole lot better.
Yes. Yeah. I don't think no one's going to be accusing John Sweet of being a Jimmy Stewart. That's for sure.
Uh-huh.
It's strange to see such an old film have this whole romanticized view of the past. I mean, nostalgia culture. I mean, we've been talking about it pretty much the whole show, but yeah, that's kind of what this is getting at with the illusions of this grand, ethereal past of jolly good old England. Yeah, and it alludes to the World War II pilgrims. Yeah, so kind of a pointless, fairly obvious mystery, as we've already alluded to get those English women away from the American men, taking up all their women.
Ravaging.
Seems a little, what is the word I'm looking for? You don't want other people getting into our women. So.
Incels?
That's RJ's
there's wood
word.
talk. Enjoyed the wood talk.
Everyone
I agree
does.
The kids part was pretty random and unnecessary. We mentioned the difference between the American British languages that they were kind of picking on a little bit. A lot of sitting around talking and smoking. Some kind of good photography to capture that billowing smoke from, I think it was the PowerPoint presentation, as you so mentioned. I, for my meme that I posted on Twitter saying, hey, I'm going to join the creeps again, pointed out that Holy Cats quote. Enjoyed that quite a bit, along with the marijuana one that I mentioned in the preamble. Let's see. You should be... oh, yeah. We had already talked about World War II movies and the fact that, the Criterion is packed with them. Already talked about Toccata and Fugue. Oh no, all those buildings are blown up, and Canterbury is not nearly as nice as it was because of the war. So, once again, romanticizing. Yeah, RJ, what are some thoughts on this?
You guys want to hear my thoughts? I already talked for a whole pile.
Go ahead, my friend. My friend in quotation marks.
Friend. So yeah, it's like I said, I put this on. I didn't really look into it. I looked at the description and I was like, I knew it was Powell and Pressburger, and then it was something about three strangers, tales cross paths or something. So I said to my wife, I was like, you know what? These guys usually make pretty good shows. You'd probably like this. I was like, sounds like an Andy pick, you know what I mean, Jarrett? Pretty good shows. I was like, let's give it a try. I was like, watch 20 minutes. If you don't like it, then I'll just watch it on my own, whatever. So I can report that she did watch the whole thing with me.
Holy cow.
So we did.
Holy
It did
cats.
take us 2 nights. I should preference 2 nights to watch this whole thing.
Interesting.
But yeah, about 20 minutes in, we hit that glue man stuff, and we were thrown for a real loop. And it was, what is this movie about?
Were you waiting
Were
you waiting for a glue man?
I
man in glue.
I was hoping for an X-Files style glue man,
like a muck man,
like from the Fallout, from like the war and stuff, like a man made of glue. That would have been very cool.
I feel like this movie might have been on our radar for a long time as a slime pick.
Oh yeah, slime picks are the best. I love a good slime pick. Body
melt movie.
Oh, Body Melt's even better.
Wouldn't that be like there you go? There's the great unrealized vision of Powell and Pressburger. It's called The Glue Man Cometh, and it is a body melt movie.
Well, Jarrett, there's always time.
Right in those
we can always make
right in those checks.
We can always make. See, no one listens to this that should. Where it's like, give us the money because we got the ideas. So yeah, the first thing was we were just like, "What is this?" Right? This is weird. And then we watched it, and there's like some stuff. So like, I found the American guy to be a mix between super charming and adorable, and then outright like frustrating, where you're like, "Why are you talking like this? Why are you doing this?" So it's kind of a mix between both. But I might surprise both of you guys. I liked this movie. I didn't really like this movie or anything like that, but I watched it and I was like, I'm on board with this. I was like, yeah, I like this glue man aesthetic. I was like, this is cool. I didn't mind the American guy. Like I said, sometimes he was a little bit annoying. I did very much dislike the kid story because I was like, I'm not here for this. Yeah. I was like, I don't care. I was like, give me more glue man, because that's what I'm really in. Mostly what I liked was it was a 1944 war movie with a character called the Glue Man, which is pretty much what I thought was the coolest part about this. But I don't know. I watched it and I was like, yeah, I'm here for this. I'm actually watching. Am I gonna ever talk about this movie? No. Am I ever gonna watch
you might talk about Glue Man again.
Oh, I'm definitely gonna be talking about Glue Man again. It's not a movie that I'll take with me any farther than tonight. But while I was watching it, I was like, yeah, okay. It's like I was saying before, like I did like some of the like stuff. Like, I liked how American guy was like, my girlfriend isn't writing me and I don't like her anymore, and he was just like, oh, okay. And other girlfriend was like, my boyfriend's dead, and you're like, oh shit, okay, she's got a real one. But when the dude's like, I play the organ here, but I'd like to play the organ there, you're like, it's pretty weak compared to the other ones, my dude. But I don't know, there are some parts of this movie where you're kind of like, I don't know what you're going for here, my dudes. But I do think this is a very quippy kind of dialogue. You know who I think would love this movie, Jarrett and JP? You guys ever seen the Gilmore Girls?
I have not. Is it any good?
I have.
Yeah, it is. I'm gonna lay it out right now. Gilmore Girls is a really good show, and I don't care who knows it. Okay, it's a good show. It's got quality writing. It's fast, quippy dialogue, my boys. So when I was watching this, I was like, you know what? Those girls on Gilmore Girls would love this show because they watch shows like this. They watch Billy Jack. Jarrett, you remember Billy Jack?
You mean like the movie Billy Jack?
The West? Yeah, that gets brought up on Gilmore Girls a lot.
The West? Did you say a Western?
Well, it's like a shoot. Isn't it a Western?
No, it's a Kung Fu man.
Billy Jack's Kung Fu?
Yeah, Billy Jack Kung Fu kicks white men's asses.
I'm gonna show you guys all of the movies that are brought up on Gilmore Girls because it's a pretty terrific list of movies that are brought up on the Gilmore Girls.
Let me tell you about Billy Jack, RJ. Billy Jack is a mixed race Navajo, a Green Beret Vietnam War vet, and a Hapkido master.
Okay, I gotcha. So Billy Jack is brought up on Gilmore Girls. Here's some other movies brought up on
no.
Gilmore Girls.
I'm not clicking on that.
I'll read it to you.
No.
Here's some movies brought up on Gilmore Girls.
No,
Bringing Up Baby, Citizen Kane, Gaslight.
We've brought those
Jarrett.
movies on this podcast before.
Yeah, but not on Gilmore Girls.
But we've brought up Gilmore Girls, and they never brought us up. What's up with that?
Well, they're not on air anymore.
Well, they had that movie, didn't they? Didn't they have that reunion movie?
You know what's a movie brought up on Gilmore Girls, Jarrett, that you like personally? You, Jarrett Duncan?
Leonard Maltin.
Bring Me the Head of Alfredo Garcia.
Okay.
That's brought up on Gilmore Girls.
Is a line of dialogue?
It is. It is. They talk about it. My point, my dudes, is that I think this is a Gilmore Girls pick. And I'm going to tell you, I'm a Gilmore guy. So anyways, I don't love this movie or anything. I'm not gonna stand up for it or anything like that. But I found it very watchable. I was like, this is fine. I'm cool with Glue Men.
Blue Men.
So
yeah, those two.
So Sunday night, I'm kind of cleaning up from our camp out and feel a little achy, and then realize I have 2 podcasts to record this week.
Uh-oh.
And so I popped this on and ended up watching it most of Monday. And I finished it Monday and was sick as a dog with body aches. So the fact that this meandering 2-hour slog was so kind of all over the place. First of all, I'm not really into whodunits, so the whole caper thing was just like, yeah, I can move on from that. So yeah, this is quite the slog. Like at the end, there's that whole scene where the soldiers are marching and they go to church, and it just went on and on and on. Yeah. So with me and Criterion's, like, I'm watching them and I'm like, why is this in the collection? Then I'll go over to the website, kind of read, what's so special about it. So a lot of times with these Criterions, I do want them to kind of smack me in the face and be like, yeah, I'm special. I deserve to be here. And I kind of see where Canterbury Tale, not the Canterbury Tale, is getting out with this whole romanticized version of England and why that's special. But I don't know. I think it could have been packaged in a less meandering, hey, let's check out what life in England's like and how we reminisce the old days. So
I got you, man. I'm gonna blow your mind. Whenever you try to think, why is this movie in the Criterion? There's no reason. It's just they put movies in here.
Like
Are any of them good?
No reason.
Not really. Not really.
Why is E.T. Brown? No reason.
No reason. He just is.
Yeah.
And that's like the honest answer. He just is.
He looks like a
It
poop.
just is in the collection because it's a Powell and Pressburger movie, and all their stuff has to be in the collection.
Yep.
Yes.
And that's all there is to it.
Collect them all, baby.
Collect them all. Well said.
One spine number at a time.
Oh.
We want to hear from people who hate this movie? Huh?
Okay.
All right. Okay.
Yeah,
oh, boy, do I.
Oh, does he ever? Okay. So, first up, we've got Shawnee, who I think has maybe it's a Union Jack right by their name. So, so this is
Shawnee GB.
This is a pretend Shawnee. This half star. 2 strangers, an American soldier and a young girl, end up in the small village of Chillingbourne. During their stay, the girl is a victim of the Glue Man. It's up to them to work out who the Glue Man is. The script is so poor, the girl in it mentions that she once worked in a department store before the war at least 3 times. The exchanges are bad, and the actors too. John Sweet, who plays the American soldier, had no acting experience and is so wooden in the part. Luckily, it's his only acting role. Look out for Charles Hawtrey, who plays a stuck-up acting station master, and Esma Cannon too. It feels like a bad Harry Enfield sketch in places. It just lacks direction in story progression. By the end, I was wanting it to finish. Best avoid.
Okay, so I don't like that he says it's poor writing because she brings up that she worked in a store 3 times. That's how people talk.
That's how RJ talks.
Yeah, when you have a story,
and that's the part where she's measuring dicks with the carriage guy, because he's like, you don't know shit about carriages, and she's like, you don't know shit about working in a department store.
Yeah, well, exactly. But you know what? That's real life, man. People will cling to what they know, what they're comfortable with. So that's not a real thing. But Shawnee GB, this guy, he will watch anything once. You have to watch the bad films to appreciate the good. Drama, foreign, sci-fi, classics, and westerns. Huge fan of British film, especially comedies, including carry-ons. I will try practically any film except for jumpy horror. Shawnee B's a big fan of Close Encounters of the Third Time, Rocky Horror Picture Show, Monty Python Holy Grail, and The Empire Strikes Back, Jarrett. They strike back.
You want to hear from Joseph Kukawaka? Kuwaka? Half a star. Dumbest fucking movie I've ever seen.
That's so just eloquent. Joseph Kukwaka likes Caddyshack, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, The Master, and Paper Moon. Not a fan of Black Panther, Jarrett. They gave it a half a star. So Canterbury Tale, Black Panther, and A Quiet Place, all half-star films.
Oh, man.
Maybe he's on to something.
No love for Jim.
Maybe he's on to something.
And
Jim?
one more.
Yeah.
Elena, half a star. A man pours glue onto women's hair to prevent them from being a distraction to other men so they can all go to listen to his lectures. What in the actual fuck?
The actual... I don't really like when people say the actual fuck, because it's like, we get it. We know where the emphasis is. This person's also a fan of Rocky Horror Picture Show, Jarrett. The second one. They also like Lost in Translation, an anime called Us and Them, and Princess Mononoke, which is an anime film, if you guys aren't aware. It's anime, Jarrett.
You want to hear who loves this film?
Oh, God.
Who loves it?
All right, John Johnson, 5 stars. I can't write anything constructive about this film. My reasons for loving it are far too personal to be interest to anyone else. It's simply one of the most magical films ever made, and its existence has improved and will continue to improve my life.
Wow.
Sydney,
John
5 stars.
Johnson?
Yep, it's it's in the most popular category.
Oh, I see.
And this is gets an award for run-on sentence of the year, whenever it was written. It's too easy to believe that man in the cause of all evil and God is the cause of all beauty. But more than asking you to believe God is in the details or God arranges fortune for the good, this movie asks you to find God in connections with other people. And it goes on and doesn't have anything to do with the movie. So, yeah.
Wow.
No one could explain why they like the movie.
Well, this person brings... There's people who bring a lot of meaning sometimes to interpretation. And I wish, I guess, I watched some movies like this. I'm sure there's like ones that we're guilty of where it's just like they send your mind down a path and you go, I really like the way that movie made me think. But often I find that when I go back to watch a movie like that, my mind... where my mind was has changed a lot, and it's like I can never go back to that, and I go, I don't know what I was thinking about this movie. It happens. But yeah, these are some very impassioned opinions of these very high ratings for this. Fascinating. But
Sydney
movies.
Sydney's got a bio I want to tell you, Jarrett and JP. Sydney's bio is, hello, I'm Leonard Nimoy. The following tale of alien encounters is true. And by true, I mean false. It's all lies.
I'm glad we're getting another Simpsons reference on this show.
But they're entertaining lies. And in the end, isn't that the real truth? The answer is no.
Oh.
There you have it.
They like cool movies like Radioactive Dreams, Kedhalam Kadanthu Pogum.
Oh yeah,
Maya Mem Sab, and the Slumber Party Massacre.
Oh, all good stuff.
Very good.
Yeah. Terrific.
Whoo, boy. Well, any final thoughts on this here movie, Justin? I assume you regret your choice.
No, it's always a pleasure to sit back with y'all. I mean, it's kind of run the gamut of the random picks I've have bestowed upon myself here.
Inflicted,
Yeah,
even.
Fear and Loathing was good times. Diary of a Country Priest, okay. Harry Carey, we went over that already. And A Canterbury Tale. But I am looking forward to Lahane and several Spine numbers to come.
That'll be next year sometime. I think early next year or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who's to say?
Who's to say? We might not even be here anymore. Who knows what the future holds? After the break, we're going to play some of that sweet Dracula music.
Oh, I do like Dracula.
I played that in high school band.
Dracula.
Drink your
That's
blood.
the Dracula sound.